A very blissful good morning to everyone present here, my students, my learners, my viewers. Today I am going to start the 11th standard syllabus of CBSE in the first poem of photograph. This poem of photograph is composed by Kathleen Shirley Tilson. She is a female poetess, was born in 1924, died in 2018. She was a British writer, poet, and a local politician. In this poem, she is reminded of her mother. And you know very well, when the matter related to mother comes in our mind, we become very emotional. And the poet is not exception of it. The poet is very emotional from the starting when she is reminded of her mother, and she has got a cardboard. She has found a photo album where mother's picture is mentioned. The cardboard shows me how it was. This cardboard makes her very emotional. She thinks about her mother. She has become very sad because mother is no more in this world. Mother is not with the poetess at this time, and she is remembering her mother very emotionally. She says, the cardboard shows me how it was. This photo, that where the album is there, the photo she found, she has noticed that it was when the two girl cousins, and mother was not alone in the photo. Two cousins were there. Went paddling there on the seashore. They went for paddling there, each one holding one of my mother's hands. And these two cousins are holding, that they were holding her mother's hands. It means one was on the left side, another was on the right side. And one hand, that left side girl took the hand of the mother, and then right side girl took one hand of the mother. And in this pose, they were being clicked the picture, and one of my mother's hands, yes, they had strong hold there. It just shows the combination, it shows the strength, it shows the relation they had. It means they were very close friends. Poetess mother and these two cousins. And she, the big girl, her height was so good according to the poetess. She was the big girl among these three, one mother and two others cousins, some 12 years or so. And this you have to keep in the mind, 12 years or so. That mother's age was 12 years. Here it has been clearly mentioned that 12 years or so, a mother's age has been calculated by the poetess. And there it means the poetess was not born at that time, and she is reminded of the mother very passionately. All three stood, and these three girls, including her mother, still they were very, yes, they stood still to smile, and they were smiling. It was obvious they were enjoying. They went to seashore for enjoying a lot, for paddling, and they were enjoying their life, their young age, to smile through their hair. And hair was also noticeable. Their look was very attractive, and at that time, and whole the body language was so positive, so optimistic, that they were smiling, they were enjoying their moments at their young age. And where they where they had shown their smile at the uncle. It means uncle was clicking the picture. Uncle was present there, and with the camera was there, and he was clicking the picture and they were smiling at the uncle. It means that the camera, they were just smiling to to give a very good pose, to be clicked for a very good pose, and a sweet face. Sweet face whose? My mother's, poetess mother. It was a sweet face. My mother. That was before I was born. 12 years old she was. And obviously that she was not born at that time. So she has mentioned here, and the sea. And the sea which appears have changeless. Sea, nature, sea is a part of nature. Nature never changes, remains the same. And the same sea that she might have noticed, poetess. She has mentioned that this sea has never been changed. It is same. But what has been changed? Time. Eternity of time. Time is immortal. Time is endless. Time is limitless. Time never ends. Who is for end? Human beings. Like her mother. Mother is no more in this world, but the sea is present at the same time here. Scenario is the same, but mother is no more. And to have changeless, yes, she has not been changed a lot. It is the same. And washed their terribly transient feet. And but she has washed the memory, the sign of the mother, and these two cousins. But these two cousins that have not been mentioned, but it is the mother whose death has been mentioned because mother was so close, obviously, to the poetess. That was their terribly transient feet. Transient feet, momentary. It ends with the passage of time. It's momentary. The reality of life is very strange. People think that they are very happy, they celebrate life, so their happiness is limitless. No, it is not true. It has the limit. Time stops everything. Death stops everything. It is the harsh reality of the life. And the poet feels it here in this poem. That's why she has mentioned here, was their terribly transient feet. A very fine chain of alliteration. Their terribly transient here. T, T, T. The same sound has been repeated, alliteration figure of speech. Very well it has been mentioned, feet. Now feet, the sign of the feet is nowhere. And they are now nowhere in this world. They are already dead. Now the another stanza here, second stanza. So the first stanza very long, and the second stanza some 20-30 years later. After 20-30 years later, what happens? Time never stops, time goes on, time carries on, and that's why it is continued. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. Now the poet is assuming, the poet is imagining that after 20-30 years, if her mother had noticed the same photograph, what she would say? She would say that, see, Betty and Dolly, these two cousins here. That here, yes, two girl cousins, these two girl cousins, Betty and Dolly. The names have been mentioned, Betty and Dolly. And she would say, and she would mention them, and she would remind that look how they dressed us. They, who are they? Who will dress them when they were 12? Obviously, their parents. So they dressed us. It means parents dressed them very well for this scene. Uncle also might have helped them to dress, and that's for what? For the paddling, for the seashore scene, for their smiling faces, and they were children at that time, and that's why they were enjoying. And she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. In the photo, it was mentioned very well that look how they, if mother had noticed, mother would have commented like that how they dressed for the beach, they were looking very beautiful, and the sea holiday was her past. And in this way, mother would mention about the sea holiday with the cousins, Dolly and Betty, these two cousins. And mother would be very happy at that time. But the poet is not happy. And for mother, this incident of paddling, going to seashore is a past event, and now mine is her laughter. But for me, for the poetess, for Kathleen Shirley Tilson, this remembrance is a kind of sadness for her. Mine is her laughter, but she misses at this time. This poetess misses her mother's laughter. That she had a very smiling face. She was very happy at that time. And both who are the both members? Who are both the people here? Obviously, mother and poetess. They both try with laboratories. Laboratories, very fine use of oxymoron figure of speech, laboratories. Two opposite words have been used and with the contradictory ideas that both ride with the laboratories of loss and both are what? Regretting. Mother also that both ride with the laboratories of mother thought about the picture when she was a young lady. After that, after 20-30 years after this incident, mother would also make a lot of regret that this incident we cannot repeat in our life because the age is not the same. Now she has become a lady, and this poetess also, this poetess is suffering because of the loss of the mother. That's why both are what? Regretting. If the mother had the time after 20-30 years later, it means she was lady and she would notice, if she had noticed the photograph, she would regretted a lot that this moment can never be same once again, because it was when she was 12 years old and she was enjoying with these two girls, Betty and Dolly. Now she cannot enjoy in the same manner. At this time, the poetess is very sad because she has lost her mother. She is missing a lot. That's why this line you have to read it very seriously, because this line has mentioned two losses, great losses. One loss, that mother, when after 20-30 years, mother would comment that she has lost this precious moment of enjoying at the seashore. And the second, this daughter, it means Kathleen Shirley Tilson, she has lost her mother. So both are sad that it has been mentioned. Now she has been dead, and now she has clearly mentioned she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived at that time. That the girl 12 years old. It means that 12 years now, this short period has been covered, has been ended, and now that girl, it means her mother, once a girl of 12 years, is now no more in this world, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. And the poet is so sad that the poet doesn't want to say anything. She has become speechless. Why? Because she is reminded very passionately about the mother, and she has become a very melancholic. And the note of melancholy has been mentioned very well here, and it silences. Very fine use of alliteration figure of speech, the same repetition of the same sound, silences. It has made everything silent. Death has made everything silent. Death is so powerful. Death makes everything stop, and it has done so, because the poetess mother is no more. That's why the poet is sad, and the poet is commenting that this silence, it means death has silenced everything. Now, figures of speech that if you find here, that this poem is very enriched for that figure of speech also. Here you can my mother's alliteration figure of speech. My mother's still stood, still smiled. Alliteration figure of speech here, and one more. Yes, terribly. Yes, there terribly transient. Here also alliteration figure of speech, and here I have mentioned here labeled is oxymoron figure of speech. So the poem is very rich in the field of literary devices also. So my dear students of 11th standard, my dear learners, my dear viewers, this poem is a very emotional poem where the poet is reminded of the mother. She has found a photo album, and she has mentioned her mother, who was so lovely, so beautiful at that time when she was a child, and she was enjoying at the seashore. And after that, 23, 30 years uh, later, she would comment that at the photo that she was very happy as she was enjoying with Betty and Dolly, two cousins. And then after that, last, you find that she is regretting that she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. It means 12 years old, and that 12 years the period also that it has become, that she has lost the mother and she has become once again sad. You can be reminded of the poem also, that one poem in the ninth standard, when one poet is reminded of the mother and it is the rainy season, and the poet is also very sad. So a lot of poems are there in English literature, in British literature, in English literature, in American literature, Australian literature also, where mother's loss has never been that a kind of thing that a person would forget. Never. So it is the loss no one can recover, and the poet is not exception of it, and that's why the poet is very sad. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day. Please enjoy the video, watch the video, like the video, and share the video. Thank you everyone.